Hello everybody and welcome to my friendship bracelet tutorial. Today I'm going to be teaching you a super basic, super beginner friendly bracelet tutorial, and that is called the Chinese staircase. Don't worry if you're more advanced and you already know how to do this one. This one's for some of our newer campers and anyone who just hadn't tried friendship bracelets before, anybody who got frustrated and just decided not to delve into the adventure that is friendship bracelets. So this tutorial will hopefully teach you how to make the basic first step that really paves the way for you to make crazy other different patterns. If you're someone who's made a lot of friendship bracelets before and you already know how to do this, don't worry, I'm planning on making a bunch more tutorials. Just like you guys, I have a lot of free time. I'm doing online classes, but that certainly doesn't fill my day, and I really enjoy making bracelets, and why not spread the joy? So I'll be teaching things like the chevron, the fish, the double chevron, the pretzel, and even something called alpha bracelets, where you can pretty much do any design out in the universe. I'll teach you how to read patterns, so just look forward to that. But for now, we'll get back to our basic Chinese staircase tutorial. So first, the things that you are going to need, you can either use something like this clipboard, or perhaps at camp you often have a water bottle. With a clip like that, it makes it a lot easier to do. I can just slide them on and off pretty easily. Or you can just use a piece of tape, but I'll show you that method later. So then you're going to need your string. It doesn't matter how many strings or how many colors you've got. You need some scissors to cut the strings. And I just had a ruler so that I can demonstrate how long you'll need. And then I've got some safety pins so that you can undo when you make mistakes. So first I'm going to measure out my strings. It doesn't actually matter how many strings you use in this case, but today I did about 18 inches. If I were you, I might do them a little longer if they're for an adult, but this is probably the perfect size for someone younger. I just, have big wrists. So you're going to do about 3 of one color and 3 of another. Now, it doesn't actually matter how many strings or how many colors you use, but for this tutorial, that's how many I'll be using. So I went ahead and cut 3 dark blue and 3 light blue. Now that you've cut them, you can attach them to your water bottle by tying a knot around this little handle. You could also tape to the water bottle. I'll also show you how to use a clipboard. Some people have those for writing letters at camp, so I thought this would be a pretty convenient way to do it. So you're just going to pin those under the little clip on the clipboard. Now you're going to separate the strings so you can see how many you have here. So you've got 3 light blue strings on your right hand side over here. These could be however many strings of whichever colors you want, but for this tutorial, 3 light blue on the right and 3 dark blue over here on the left. So now you're going to take your light blue strings and your dark blue strings and kind of put them together, all except one dark blue string, which you're going to hold out to the side on the left. And then what you're going to do with that dark blue string is you're going to make a 4. So it's kind of hard to see on this clipboard, so I'm going to show you what it looks like on a white background, so it's a little easier to see. So first you're going to tape it down to your surface, whether that's a table or a water bottle. You're going to tape down all of your strings, make sure they're super secure. And then you're, just like before, you're going to take one of your strings. I think I choose the dark blue here. And then you're going to form a 4. You can't really see it in this clip, but I'll move it up in a second. So now you've got your 4. And then you take that little tail end right there, you weave it under all of your strings and pop it through that little hole of the 4 right there. And then you're going to pull this little loop all the way to the top where your tape is. And you're going to make sure you tug on there so that it's super firm and secure. And that is half a knot. So you're going to do it one more time. You're going to take the little tail of the 4 and slip it under those strings through that little loop there. And then you're going to pull all the way up to where the last knot ended. So that is one full whole knot. And that's what we're going to call a forward knot, but don't worry about that for now. So again, you're going to take one piece of dark blue string. You can switch every time, or you can use the same string every time. It doesn't really make a difference, but you're going to make a 4. You're going to put the tail through that little hole, and then you're going to pull all the way to the top. And make sure that you're making them pretty tight so that you're not going to have loose stitches coming out. And you're going to do that twice for every stitch. 2 4s, 2 forward knots. So I'm going to do that several times. You'll see that it makes this nice little dark blue stripe, and you can do that for as long as you want, honestly. If you want really thick stripes on your Chinese ladder, then you can do lots and lots and lots of knots. But if you would like shorter stripes, then only do a few knots. But soon we're going to change colors, and that's super easy. You're just going to be doing the same thing as before, but with the light blue string. So here we're going to take the light blue string out to the left and make the 4 just like we did with the dark blue. We're going to take the tail, pull it under all of those strings and through that hole in the center, and then pull that all the way up to where the rest of your knots are and tug it pretty tight. Then we're going to do that one more time, and that makes a full stitch. So you're just going to keep repeating. And so see how I switched light blue strings? You can switch the string that you use to make the 4, or you can keep it the same until it gets really short. But eventually every string will get pretty short, and so you'll want to switch to the next one. Or you can just take turns and they'll all become short around the same time. I'm just going to speed through this because you guys are experts now. If you need to go back and watch me explaining it slower, you can do that. But we're just going to do a bunch of light blue ones, and then do a bunch of dark blue ones, and then switch whenever you want. As I said, if you want a thicker stripe, then do a bunch of knots, and if you don't, then only do a few. So now what I'm going to show you isn't super important for this tutorial, but this is a backward stitch. You're going to make a P instead of a 4 and do the exact same thing. So that's just called a backward stitch. If you find yourself doing that the whole time, that is completely and totally fine. In this bracelet, it doesn't matter at all which direction we're going. But in later bracelets, you're going to need to know how to do a backward stitch. So you just make a P and then pull the tail through the center of the P, just like we've been doing with the 4. And you can see me demonstrate that a couple times. It's super easy. It doesn't matter which backward or forward you do. You can switch back and forth every time if you want for this tutorial. As you can see now, I made a mistake, so I'm taking my safety pin and I fixed it. Mistakes don't matter too much. You can keep going if you want, but if it's a big one and you get really frustrated about it, I always like to keep a safety pin with me, because it's a lot harder to do with your own fingers, especially if you don't have fingernails like me. So I keep a safety pin secured on my water bottle, or just attach it to the top of my bracelet, and then whenever I make a mistake, I can undo the safety pin and kind of pick it out. So I sped it up again, and you can just see I'm switching colors every probably 6, and that's just my personal preference. So now that I have a pretty good length, I'm going to tie a knot at the end, just using all of the string, tie a knot to secure the end of the friendship bracelet. And I realized that for my big adult wrist, this is kind of a small bracelet, but it ended up being just long enough for me to be able to tie it around my wrist you'll see it's a little snug for me, but I think for some of you guys this would be the perfect length. Once again, I used 18 inches for each of these threads, and that made probably the perfect length for a lot of you guys. It was just a little snug on me. So here I am trying it on. It's my stylish watch. But I think it looks pretty cute. It makes this little spiral around it, if you can see, with the knots. So there you go. This is pretty much the easiest way to tie it, is just tie a knot around your wrist, but there's some fancy ties that I'll teach you in the next couple tutorials that make it look even more elegant. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. Let me know how you did. If you make your own friendship bracelet using this tutorial, please take a picture. I would love to see it. I find it really awesome to see people being creative, and if this helped you, let me know. I also would definitely take requests if you want to know how to do a specific kind of pattern, but in general, I'm going to start from easy like we just did now, and progressively, level up from there. I think next up would be candy stripe, and then probably chevron. So thank you guys, and have a wonderful day.